Right, so what I want to do this morning is just go through what you're going to be doing in the lab. But I want you to design, do the paper design for what we're going to do in the lab. And so I'm just going to go through the lab quickly, and let's see, have a look at here. Okay, so you've got to download and unzip some files. We'll skip that. This is the important bit here. This is the scene graph for the mechanical hand. And what we're going to do is we're going to modify this scene graph in two ways. One, we're going to modify it so we can add an extra finger onto it. So it's a 3-finger mechanical hand at the moment. What you have to do is add an extra finger, which is going to have its own individual control. And the other thing that we want to do is we want to add another palm finger system, which is this bit here, to the original forearm. So this is the forearm component here. This is the palm finger system, and what you have to do is you have to add another palm finger system at this end. And I don't want complete control of all of these individual fingers, just control of this joint is enough. Right. So you have to think about, in both cases, in terms of adding an extra finger on here and being able to waggle it up and down, and adding an extra palm finger system on the other end of the forearm. You have to think about how the parameters are going to flow through and where the node is going to be attached to the scene graph. Right. So your first task is to draw on the handout on this slide where you're going to attach the single finger system and where you're going to attach the palm finger, the extra palm finger system. Okay. Oh, and that, and then that's the end. Well, that's not quite the end, of course. Once you have modified, the scene graph, and you've added the extra argument, then the next thing you have to do is you have to look at the source code. So once you've downloaded and opened the source code, if I can find there we go. All right. So here I've got the source code, and I've just collapsed all of the function definitions. So this is the source code that you've just looked at, and I've just handed out to a few people. And in here we can see various functions which correspond to these nodes, hopefully. All right, so we've got a draw floor, we've got the top level, which is the draw scene, we've got draw forearm palm fingers, we've got a draw forearm, can't speak this morning. All right. So, after you have modified your scene graph, which should be reasonably easy, all right, then what I want you to do is I want you to write on this the modifications that you want, all right, to do both the finger, the addition of the finger and the addition of the palm finger system. Okay, any questions? All right. And then tomorrow in the lab, all I want you to do is just code that up and get it working. All right. So if you do this just now, it shouldn't take you any more than about 20 minutes to actually do the lab. Okay? Right. So if you start by ignoring the code and just making the modifications that you want to this, and I'll give you about 5 minutes to do this. All right?